Hello and welcome to your Aircraft Global Market Update. It is Friday, October 27, 2023. We'll had a lot of great conversations in the comments section this week, so thank you for that. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share these videos so that we can get them out there and create the cooperative owner and pilot community that we are trying to in order to develop and bring transparency into the market. I learned some great things this past week in the comments section. I learned that the Honda jets advertise their fastest speed at a very low altitude. And that's the kind of stuff that I am talking about. When we communicate with one another and we bring that kind of transparency with one another, we're going to have more informed decision-making when buying and acquiring aircraft. Also had some great exchanges about the Epic aircraft, the Epic turboprop versus the TBM, the longevity of Cicada or D-IFER, over 200 years, 300 years of combined experience in those businesses, whereas a company like Epic has some great pedigree with some folks coming out of Colombia that were working there for quite a while, but not the level of longevity and legs that D-IFER and Cicada has yet. Climbing in the pricing, in the asking price for their new aircraft, and is it justified or not? Lots of great conversations. Thank you once again for engaging. Remember, as always in these videos, these are our opinions. We are reacting to controller, giving you our opinions on information throughout the aviation used marketplace. We've bought and operated and sold a lot of aircraft. We are not brokers. We're not lawyers. We're not accountants. So, choose and seek your own advice from your own counsel. This is our opinions. But without further ado, we do have a lot of experience. So we hope together we'll create some great information that all of us can use together. Without further ado, let's get into the news and overall sentiment for this past week. A lot changing and a lot not. A yo-yo, that's the best metaphor that I could possibly come up with for these past couple of weeks. We thought commodities and fuel and oil and metals and wheat and grain and all these things were maybe going to go up because of this war, but really they're just kind of yo-yoing up and down. The world doesn't really know what to think or do or how far this war is going to progress with America. Candidly, I don't think we are going to get involved and probably shouldn't get involved. We have to support our ally, absolutely 100%. But the problem is when you have intelligence in office one year, you have a lack of intelligence in office in the next presidential administration. So after everything that was done over there in the Middle East, say to a country like Afghanistan to develop security out there, when this last administration came in and took us out of there and created a power vacuum, it erased everything that was done, all of that sacrifice for decades. So I think there's a reluctancy of the American public to go into another war, even if it's a noble and wise thing to do, simply because what's going to happen next time? We're just going to have a power vacuum and it's going to all be erased. And what will the sacrifice have been for? So financially supporting may be the limit of this ally kind of reaction this time, this allied reaction. Because of that reluctancy. And I think that's why the markets are responding to this. The markets are seemingly reacting to us having a minimal involvement in this conflict in the Middle East. So we've got articles coming out continually saying the U.S. economy is a juggernaut, combined with articles saying that the Americans have no savings left and American spending's through the roof and credit cards are maxed out. So I don't know what folks are using to continue to spend, but it can't last forever. At some point, those credit card bills become due. Inflation edged down in September in line with estimates, but when you combine that with the economy being a juggernaut and American workers feeling confident about today's job market, what you have is probably maybe another interest rate hike coming from the Fed, because that's not going to help bode well for long-term interest rates. So we still have the pilot shortage. It's in private aviation as well. As we spoke before, the airlines have deeper pockets and can afford to pay pilots more. And so corporate aviation is having a difficult time finding pilots right now. But there's a major mechanical issue we're seeing in the American just society and economy right now. And I want to present to you a possible idea for something that could happen. We talk about, inflation being sticky or transitory and all of these things, but what it all boils down to is the American worker. At the end of the day, every dollar you have saved up, all of its value is wrapped up in what the next guy after you is going to do. It's called labor capital. And so if everybody stops working and doing nothing and there's no more goods being produced, well, no matter how many seashells you have saved up, it becomes worthless. And we as Americans have made a big mistake in raising the last couple of generations. We raised them too soft. Test scores are racist or too hard, and just everything is soft. And so what it's producing is lazy, mediocre Americans. I mean, go onto YouTube and type in dumb Americans. I mean, that's a great starting point. You will see people that cannot name a single country or city in Africa. You will see people that have no idea what the stars on the American flag represent or how many of them there are. You will see those same individuals then be asked the question, how many states are there? And they can't answer it. You will see individuals that are asked this. This is a great one. I just saw this earlier today going down a rabbit hole. A gentleman asked 3 college-age girls, if you're traveling at 80 miles an hour and you travel for 1 hour, how many miles have you traveled? None of them could answer the question, not after several minutes. And so this is your American worker. This is who is in charge of your labor capital and every dollar you have saved up in the bank in the future. And that's a problem. That is inflationary because these people will not be able to produce the level of GDP that has been produced in the past. They will not be able to produce the quality that has been produced in the past. And they will be more lazy as well with their expenses than other folks in the past. Whereas somebody else may have mowed their own lawn, they will be very liberal with their expenses and hire somebody to mow their lawn or do their garden or anything that they would have normally been done before. Maybe they'll eat out 5 nights a week. And so all of this is very inflationary, and which is probably why this U.S. economy is still a juggernaut, because even though some of the supply shortages have been eliminated since COVID, even though there's an oversupply of many things, we still have the degradation of the American worker at hand, and that is not going to bode well for long term. So what I would like to present and consider is what this is going to do. Let's just take the aviation market here, for example, which obviously I'm very passionate about. Let's think about new versus used aircraft, okay? Well, used, just in general, aircraft are expensive. So if this newer American worker doesn't gain intelligence, discipline, and responsibility and learn to work harder, they can't even afford homes, let alone an airplane. So that is heavily deflationary. So my opinion, that is going to continue to make things like airplanes go down. There's not going to be more people owning businesses, more entrepreneurs out there. There are probably going to be less overtime, giving way to large mega conglomerates like things like Amazon and major REITs and companies like BlackRock owning massive amounts of homes and apartment complexes. So less business owners, less earnings overall. I think that is deflationary for airplanes. There's not going to be as many people buying small airplanes or large airplanes. And so that price, I think, comes down. But think about it from the standpoint of new aircraft. Okay, the manufacturers, the type of people you see in these videos when you type in dumb Americans on YouTube, those are the ones that are building our airplanes. So that is heavily inflationary, because an airplane that could be built in a week before maybe takes a month or 3 months to be built by these people at this point. And at what level of quality? How many recalls? We saw a major recall from such a prestigious company like Raytheon recently, costing billions of dollars. And if companies like that can face recall, how long before it hits every nuance of every component on site, a Cessna or an Embraer or a Cirrus or a D-IFER Cicada aircraft? It's only as long as the quality, that Kaizen, continual improvement, Six Sigma principles can stand. And these future upcoming generations, they simply aren't embracing that. They just don't care. They want 4-day work weeks. They want 5-hour work days in those 4-day work weeks. And, they want their mocha lattes and their Happy Meals delivered to their house and living happily ever after in their parents' basement. Sorry, I digress. We're going to get back to aviation here, but we're talking about inflation and deflation in aviation and some of the places that it can come from. So let's spark a conversation about that. Let's talk about it in the comment sections. And we're not going to go over this. This was in last video. This is, again, not consulting or advice. This is just something us putting out there for conversation fodder. It's our opinion. So bonus depreciation and taxes. Airplanes, they cost so much right now. We're waiting for them to come down. We think they will. We have another banner week here with how many airplanes are on the market. Now, more records broken. We believe the bubble has got to burst, and it is bursting, and it's going to continue to burst. And so you have to ask yourself as you're coming to the end of the year here, is the amount of depreciation you are going to save on an aircraft by putting it into service before the end of the year? First of all, can you do it? You don't have much time to get it into service legitimately. And number two, is it going to outweigh the value loss potentially on the aircraft next year as this bubble does or does not burst? Go to last video, watch a video. We talk about this more in depth, but until then, you can pause, rewind these videos anytime. Here's the schedule we kind of put together to give you an idea of what some tax savings are in various states, assuming you put the aircraft into work before the end of the year. Now, what I'm going to bring up today is, should I use a broker when buying or selling an aircraft? Now, we're going to put out a poll for this in the next week. We're going to talk about, using a broker, using controller. Actually, I'm sorry, we just did get a poll back on that. And, I'm going to pause this video real quick, and I'm going to see what those poll results are. We'll post it up here on the screen. Okay, there we go. Quick change on the slide here. Wanted to get the results of that in there. And so we only got 8 votes. Hey, as we grow as a channel here, we'll hopefully get more and more people taking interest in these polls. But so where do you go to look for aircraft for sale? Most people say, hey, I just go to controller. Only 13% of you said, hey, I hire a broker. Only one of you, maybe 2 of you, go to trade a plane, and the overwhelming majority goes to controllers. So controllers pretty much a monopoly. It's where everybody goes between that and a broker. But what I want to bring up in this video is, should I use a broker when buying or selling an aircraft? Now I'm going to make some enemies here. And again, this is my opinion, but I just want to bring some things to your attention in terms of this overall conversation, or should I use a broker or not? Now, I'm going to say, if this is your first time buying an aircraft, I would highly probably recommend buying a broker, because you don't know what you're doing. And there's a lot of ways a broker can really help you out. If they know what they're doing and they're worth their money and they know the aircraft, which I will say is rare. Most brokers sell anything that anybody's willing to list with them. And so they are not experts in any aircraft. But if you find a broker that is an expert in an aircraft, and you know what, I'm going to give kudos to a company that I've done a lot of business with actually in the past. They're very expensive, but they're worth it in my opinion. That's Van Bortel Aircraft. No, they're not paying me. No, there's no money in this video. I bought a lot of aircraft over the years. I've never had a single problem with anything I bought from them. Why? Because they're experts in Cessna. And so when you get an aircraft from them, stuff's put together really well. Anything that was broken is fixed, slightly broken, fixed, about ready to break, fixed. And for the most part, you get an aircraft, you get to use it trouble-free. If not, they got these cool warranty programs and stuff. Look, Van Bortel's a lot of money, but they're worth it. That's an example, in my opinion, of a broker slash seller being worth what you're going to pay in terms of commission or a delta in bringing them into the mix. And so, yeah, if you're a first-time buyer, I mean, do you really know how to look through logbooks? Do you really know how to check an aircraft over, give it a once-over? Can you take panels apart and really dive in and see potential problems coming up with the airframe? Look, your broker can't either, maybe, but they might be able to recommend you to a good mechanic and stuff like that, and take advantage, or excuse me, hold your hand in that type of situation, and really take the helm and the wheel, so to speak, and that's what I meant to say. So yes, brokers have their advantages, they have their use case scenarios, but they can also have their disadvantages as well. And this may be a market, again, don't want to make any enemies here, but this may be a market where you want to think twice about using a broker. And here's why. Let's go over some of these. So the advantages, look, less of your time might be required. You call a broker, say, hey, this is the aircraft I'm looking for. He's just going to go shopping for you and give you a list. That's easy, right? You go to sell an aircraft. Hey, here's my aircraft. Go sell it. You don't have to field all of those phone calls. You don't have to meet every single person out to the airport to take a look at your aircraft. You're going to have to do all the demo flights, probably, unless your broker's got a pilot, which is also rare, or is a pilot themselves. But for the most part, you will probably save some time. You might get a better deal. Look, I've used a lot of brokers over the years. Sometimes they've done well for me. Sometimes they haven't. I had a deal last year where a wonderful broker, he did fantastic by me. He got way more for my aircraft than I probably would have been interested in getting on my own, just because I'm a busy guy. Like I said, we operate a lot of aircraft, so I don't always have time to get the best deal on things. And so, yeah, I think he helped me out big time last year. Let's see, might help you find more choices. Yeah, sure. They do off-market stuff. They make phone calls. They do research. Yeah, all that has value for sure. You know, depending on how much of a commodity your aircraft is, like they might be able to help you out. And they can help new buyers, like I said, navigate the market and the process. But take a look at this table. This could be what you're paying. You know, you're going to buy a 182 or something in the $500,000 range, $500,000. You might pay 40 grand in a commission. You're going to spend $1 million on an aircraft, get like a newer SR22 or a single engine turboprop, well-used single engine turboprop. You might pay, almost 10% of that, 65 grand. You might pay a decent chunk in commissions. Once you breach $2 million, you're going to be paying probably over 100 grand in commissions potentially. Now, all this is negotiable. There's no set price, just like there isn't supposed to be with realtors either. But a lot of times they kind of strong arm you and get you into these prices. I will say that I've paid the full gamut in all these numbers. That's where this table comes from, is what I have paid historically in commissions. And so now some of these overinflated bubble pricing aircraft that are now in the, say, these Cirrus jets, in my opinion, which should be in the 1 to 2 million range, that are in the 2 to 3 range. Well, between 100 and 200 grand of those numbers are going to be probably commissions to brokers. You're looking at an expensive TBM. You're looking at like a newer M2 or a CJ3 Plus. You could pay over 200 grand, 200-300 grand in commission prices. Why is this significant? Well, some of these deltas in this bubble market are going to get down to the point where the delta is about what a broker is wanting to charge. For example, we'll show you later, but there's this Citation Mustang I think is just beautiful. I think it's 1 Romeo Golf. I've been showing it every week, telling everybody it's my favorite. It's so pretty. And it's been on the market forever now. I mean, I think it's been on the market like 6 months. They just go through one broker after another, and they're not selling anything. My question to that gentleman, owner of 1 Romeo Golf, if you were listening to and watching this video, why don't you list the aircraft yourself? Like on that one deal, you can take 10 pictures, you can post them online, call controller, upload them, knock 200 grand off of your aircraft, and guess what? It will probably sell. And people that are buying jets are sophisticated buyers for the most part. Even though Mustangs, you might get some first-time jet owners. I get it. But look, if you really want to move your aircraft, if you are selling an aircraft, and anybody is watching this video selling an aircraft, you may want to consider listing it yourself right now, because you can knock a couple $100 grand off the price tag, which is really going to make a difference in some cases and might get some buyers interested in your aircraft. You got to have your choice. You can either try to sell your aircraft in a bubble market on your own, or you can wait for the market to kind of crash, the bubble market to go away, and hire a broker. But having a broker in the bubble market right now, I think the times of getting bubble market pricing plus brokerage commissions are over. And that's the disadvantage. Okay, here they are on the right side. It can be really expensive. They might not get you a better deal. Look, the way the market is going right now with the oversupply, the market is going to do stuff on its own. The invisible hand is going to dictate what things are worth at this point. And nobody is going to change that. A broker might be able to create some urgency for you and let people think that there's a whole bunch of buyers on the line and may eke out a little more money. Sure. And I have nothing against brokers. But in the market we're going into, it's going to be hard for them to be able to get their commissions and to be able to be worth those commissions as prices go down. They might not save you time. You're still going to have to do demo flights. You're still going to have to review the deal. You're still going to have to go through all the paperwork, gather, read it, and sign it. And look, at the end of the day, there's a conflict of interest. Brokers, you know, I've worked with some great guys with really high integrity, and it's rare, you know, like I'm going to give my buddy Carlos, who is a broker, a shout out. Man, the guy's got more integrity than most people I've met. You know, if the deal's not good for you, he'll walk away from the deal with you 10 times. That's pretty cool. But every time he does that, he's walking away from putting bread on the table for him and his family. That's got to get hard over time. Okay. Not all brokers have that level of integrity. There is a conflict of interest, you know, between maintenance and pre-buys. Are they picking the maintenance shop? Is it guys that are just going to rubber stamp, yeah, the aircraft is fine during the pre-buy because they want to get the deal to close so they can get their commission? You know, when you're going to buy stuff and you got the broker on the other line telling you, oh, I got 5 buyers and then, you know, the airplane's still in the market 30 days later. Are they creating a false sense of urgency, and are they inflating prices on you as a buyer? Misinformation, again, on values and markets and things. So look, at the end of the day, you are going to be the person who has the most responsibility and discipline with your own wealth and finances. And so that needs to be your first thing. Broker might be right for you. It might not. I see strengths and weaknesses for both. But the reason I bring this up is it's so different from real estate. Okay, in real estate, the Realtors Association of the United States, or whoever they are, and the MLS, I mean, they literally have a monopoly. It's tragic. My humble opinion is they have a monopoly. It violates antitrust, and it should be broken down. And here's the test for it. If you want to sell your house right now, can you sell it by yourself without going through them? No, of course you can't. You know, you can list your home for sale by owner. No one goes to those websites. You can put your home on Zillow for sale by owner. No one clicks for sale by owner on Zillow. You're never going to sell that place. You can stick a sign in your front yard. People don't do drive-bys anymore. So the only way you're going to get your home sold probably is going on the MLS. That's a monopoly. That's not cool. I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I think the commissions can be insane in real estate, but in aviation, it's vastly different. Anybody can go list their aircraft on controller. And as we showed on the last slide, most people go to controller. So if the biggest advantage in real estate is, okay, yep, you don't have to sit there and show your home and deal with these open houses and have people insult you and try to walk on eggshells diplomatically. Look, that all has value for sure. But at the end of the day, you can't really do anything without a real estate agent putting your home on the MLS. Okay. And if that's your big value add for having a broker, well, then in aviation, I would just say stick your aircraft on controller. Look, here's the process. You can go to websites. Look at the top left. You can download free letters of intent. You want to buy something, that's where it starts. Start with a letter of intent. Hey, I'm interested in your aircraft. Here's what I'm willing to pay. Okay, then you go to a company like Aerospace Reports or Insured Aircraft Title. You open an escrow if it's accepted, and you put a deposit down. Those people, I've done tons of business with both Insured Aircraft Title and Aerospace Reports. No, they are not endorsing me. No, I don't get any kickbacks, rebates, anything of the kind. This is 100% like free. I'm doing this because I love aviation. I have no reason to give these people's kudos, but they've done well by me, so I'm going to. They've done all this before. They're the ones that fill out all this paperwork. They're the ones that do the bill of sale, the International Registry of Mobile Assets. You know, they'll walk you through it. They'll help you. You don't need anybody else but your escrow person if you want to get through this process. You can go to these same websites and find a sample aircraft purchase and sales agreement, or you can find any vehicle purchase sale agreement and go through it. Or if you are buying from an owner, they may have a purchase agreement. If you've ever bought an aircraft before, use that purchase agreement. Dot your I's, cross your T's, change the N number. There's no reason you can't probably fairly easily do this yourself. It ends with the International Registry of Mobile Assets. If you want to do that, an aircraft bill of sale, registering the N number with the FAA, you put the money in escrow and you're done. So it's not rocket science. That's the biggest thing we want to get across today. Why are we bringing this up now? Again, because commission schedules seem to be getting close to the amount of bubble inflation inside an aircraft. And so if some of these aircraft were sold more direct from owners, I think more aircraft would move, more aircraft would be bought and sold, and this market would probably return to health a little faster. All right, we're not going to focus much on this today. Again, watch our last video. We brought this jet aircraft comparison in last time. Take a look at our last video. I'm only going to mention that in the comments section, we had some folks asking us to put in some more information, to add some things. At some point, there will be too many requests and we won't be able to honor them all. But for now, we're going to add an altitude and gallons per hour for the max cruise. And we got information from one of you. Thank you so much for posting that in the comments section. Flight level 310, 166 gallons per hour is where that Honda jet gets its speed from. That's pretty low. So if any of you have any other information that can help me fill out that column, great. I tried going through flightplan.com. Look, most jets don't post cruise fuel burn information in their aircraft flight manuals. Very hard to come by, and I didn't feel like going through all of my jet videos flying over the years where I'm videoing avionics to hunt for fuel flows and stuff. Flightplan.com just did not have super accurate information for max cruise speed. Actually, every aircraft I looked at was well under its actual max cruise speed. So that was quite an interesting thing. But anyways, that's all we're going to mention here. Feel free to look at it, write down some comments, questions in the comment sections if you need to. Over time, we're going to fill out that column that we just added. Okay, I'll leave this here briefly for a second. Again, feel free to pause, rewind, all that jazz. And this is great information for you. Over time, we're going to add more aircraft to this. And feel free to look at last videos that actually talk about it in depth. Okay, on this screen, we had some more folks talking, asking for a diamond aircraft. And so we're going to change this to multi-turbo prop. We'll put a few in here. We don't want to get it too clogged with information, but we got a diamond D-2062 on here. We got the Vision Jet G2 Plus. This is maybe a nice step before a turbo prop. And then the G2 Plus is maybe a nice step after. We also added the Epic G1000 in there. Sorry if you can't see this left side. There you go. And over time, we're going to fill this information. We just didn't have time to do it this week because all the information we put in the beginning of this video that we didn't have yet. So there it is. If you want more information on this, go back, watch some of our last videos. We're just going to leave this on briefly as well. Feel free to pause, fast forward, rewind. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, another record-breaking week. Is there ever going to be a point where I'm not saying this is another record-breaking week? 5,063 aircraft on the market. Wow, haven't seen anything like it. Look at all the Mustangs on the market now. We're up to 23. More aircraft than I have ever seen listed for sale ever in the history. More Mustangs now. It doesn't look like anything else ticked up really. A couple of Raven 2s additionally on the market that weren't there before. More SR22s. Oh my gosh, more 182s, but more SR22s. Wow, let's take a look at that inventory. Look at this line. This is just since June. I wish I'd been tracking this for you since January because the line looks like this nonstop since January. Everybody's selling, nobody's buying, and that means prices are going to have to come down, in my opinion. Keep your patience, keep your discipline, hold off. We're sitting on the sidelines and we're waiting because these prices, excuse my language, are stupid and we're not paying it. All right, let's continue on here. Down ticks, and looks there's a lot of down ticks here, but as we point out every week, controller listings expire. You got to re-up them every so often. And we regularly see aircraft that disappear for a bit come back on the market, whether they change a broker or the owner just forgot to re-up the controller listing. So when you take a look at this list and you see, oh, wow, Cirrus jets are down from 30 to 26 in the past few weeks. Or you see that, oh, Phenom 300s moved from 29 down to 24 in the past week. I don't really believe that, especially watching the increase from inventory we see on this side and just the outrageous prices that are out there. I think a lot of aircraft are simply being delisted. And when it gets to expensive jets, people can't sit on those for very long. And so it gets to some point where you're like, look, this is not selling. I don't think it's going to sell. I have to put this thing to work. You approach a 135 or a charter company, you say, put this thing to work. They're not willing to put it to work for a month or two. I mean, they got to go through a lot of work and validate it and, have their pilots fly it and all that jazz, get it approved and everything on their 135 certificate. And so they're going to want to sign a contract. It's probably going to be a year. So some of these aircraft that are disappearing, my guess is they're going to work because even the people that were selling them don't believe they're going to sell over the next year. At least they're going to put some money back in the bank. So again, when I look at these, I see Phenom 100s coming down a little bit. I see Mustangs climbing. Yeah, that's to be expected. Yeah, these things that are going down, the big question is, are they really being sold or not? You know, it's probably a mixed bag. Maybe a couple sell, maybe one sell, maybe some are being put to work. Maybe the owners on the rest of them decide, forget it, I'm just going to fly this thing. Helicopter inventory, pretty stable with a tick up in Raven 2s and pretty stable now on everything else. Augusta 109s sitting at about 18. Bell 407s 22. And it looks like we got 10 429s. That's just kind of run of the mill for 429s. Overall, your aircraft down on the bottom, pretty healthy market, but there are an awful lot of Robinsons on the market right now. That is going to create downward pressure on prices and be deflationary, in my opinion, for you Robinson lovers out there. And that should put downward pressure on new prices as well in the coming year. So let's all hope for that because we all need it. All right, we got the Cirrus SR22 inventory here, and we're up to 320. Oh my, oh my. I don't know how you sell a Cirrus SR22 right now. That's tough. And a lot in the market. I would imagine those prices are going to come down dramatically. Other piston single aircraft, pretty stable. Slight uptick in 182s. Everything else is pretty stable. And our new chart this week, we moved multi-engines and turboprops to here. We only got a week of data on the DA62, the Caravan, the Kodiak, and the Epic 1000. But look at that, flat lines, nothing selling, nothing selling at all. So you see a slight downward tick there, looks like in the TBMs. Those could be selling. Those are really popular. People are willing to pay crazy prices for those. But I still believe maybe a couple sold, maybe one or two or something, and then maybe the rest is just delisting, relisting, moving to another broker. We'll see it in a couple of weeks. We'll find out what happens. All right, these are the prices that we don't go over and the specific aircraft used market we don't go over. Again, we're going to try to focus on helicopters, turboprops, and jets on this channel because that is our passion. But hey, we love every airplane. Cessna TTX is one of my favorites, as you'll read about in the comments section. I've flown so many different airplanes, and still to this day, that Corvallis, I think Cessna made a big mistake discontinuing that aircraft. It's, in my opinion, the best single-engine aircraft ever made. It's incredible. And anyways, I digress. You can take a look at this these schedules. These are where we believe price and value should be on aircraft. New is at top in the blue. Those are best guess estimates for what those aircraft would have cost new. And down below, you can take a look at the year. And then these brackets are broken down by numbers and hours, how we think the value of the aircraft drops over time, and what an aircraft will be worth. At some point, the aircraft is worth the same amount, like no matter how many hours or what it does. That's kind of how it works. As weird as that may sound, that's just because things hit a certain bottom line shelf of what sellers are willing to take and get. And that's just where the value drop off ends. All right, we're going to move into TBM 850 inventory. No real changes here. I think we saw a TBM or two move or disappear for right now, maybe get delisted. So we've got a 2009, a 14, an 11, and a 12 here, all in the 2 million range from 2.498 million on up to 285. The good news about the TBMs is falling in line with historical depreciation schedules of single engine turboprops. They're not too far off. I mean, once you get inside of a 10% premium, which most of these on this page are pretty close to, you're within negotiation range. And that's why I bring up that brokerage situation in the beginning. Look at this. Only one of these is sold by a guy in Germany. The other ones, all these are represented by brokers. And so how much money is in these things in broker fees? Oh, maybe 100 grand, maybe 150. I don't know, maybe less. But either way, that's adding to that sticker price. So if you're a seller or a buyer right now, while the market's getting tight, that's something you got to take into consideration. Kodiak inventory, we'll speed through this one because I think this is a pretty niche desire. I love the Kodiak. I think it's cool cool aircraft, but they're getting ridiculous in pricing as well. They were originally going to be a budget alternative to the Caravan, and well, now they're an alternative to the Caravan, but there's certainly no budget alternative anymore. Look at these premiums in comparison with, you know, historical kind of turboprop norms, 30, 40, 60% premiums on prices. Some of these they're asking price or, you know, near what they were new. Look at that 2009 on the bottom left. That new probably would have sold for around 1.5. They're asking for over what it would have cost new. That's just weird. It's heavily used. It has 1,500 hours on it. No, thank you for us. All right, we're going to the Cirrus Vision Jets now. Got a reduction here, 53,000 on November 507 Sierra Alpha at 1.745 million. We believe the aircraft global market update fair market value is 1.315 million because that aircraft brand new would have been right around 2. It's got 1,500 hours on it, and it should be depreciated down way more than that by this point, 7 years old. All right. These other premiums, 40, 70%, they're quite high. So we have not seen Cirrus Vision Jets come down much yet. We got a couple new ones on here. We decided to add some more for you just so we could get some other data in here. This 2018 on the left here, November 11 Sierra Mike's listed at 1.95 million with 690 hours on it. Our numbers say that's more of a $1.6 million bird. That's a 21.9% premium. But then look at this G2 Plus over here, a 2021 with 261 hours on it, 12.3% premium. We think that aircraft should be around 2.8 million. So that's almost within negotiation range. It's getting close. Do I think Vision Jets are worth $3 million personally? No, I don't, you know, and that's a hard point in coming up with these values for you guys is we have to base them on what the aircraft sells for new. And then what we know historical schedules of depreciation are for jet or used aircraft, which just so happen to be around 200 grand a year, $150 a flight hour. And that's for aircraft on programs. It's double that hourly or triple that hourly depreciation for aircraft not on programs. And then, yeah, historically, there's a lot of Cirrus jets on the market. I think people get them and they realize very quickly they need to upgrade because they're very limited into what they can do weight-wise, in my opinion, speed-wise, and all that. They're very, very safe aircraft. They've got that going for them. Very cool. But they're very limited for performance, range, and payload. And so because of that, I think that's why you see a lot of used ones come back on the market pretty quick with low time. And so this guy we're saying here is worth 2.85 million. Well, that's in relation to new. Would I personally pay 2.8 million for a single engine Cirrus Vision jet? Absolutely not. Not even close. I would maybe pay 2, maybe less than 2. I don't know, for a newer, you know, Cirrus Vision jet with a single engine on it. You know, that's just my humble opinion. So very high premiums on these, but they are based on what the aircraft sold for new. So back in the day, 4 or 5 years ago, when aircraft were more reasonably priced new out of the factory, you're going to have more reasonably priced depreciation and real intrinsic value that you as an individual perceive the aircraft will be worth. Lately with inflation, yeah, the numbers are going to say it's good, but intrinsically it's going to be like, no, I'm not paying $3 million for a single engine jet that can't fly very far and I can only put a few people in. All right, moving along to Mustangs. No real change here except for look in the bottom. We got a $256,000 reduction for that aircraft. It's still at a 17.5% premium. That $20,000 reduction on the first one, the 2010's been there forever. And my favorite, One Romeo Golf again, there it is. Still listed at 2.295 million, now on its third broker, not going anywhere. No one wants to pay 2.3 million for a 2008 not on programs. With 1,900 hours on it, no matter how beautiful and upgraded it is. And so owner of One Romeo Golf, you might want to consider listing it on your own and dropping it 200 grand. You might have better possibilities there. 2007, the Cessna Citation Mustang, the one directly underneath, that's a new one. And we just wanted to pop that on there, 26% premium, 3,700 hours. No one wants you. After you get 3,000 hours, no one likes aircraft with that many hours on it. This did just recently have an overhaul, which is why I think they think the value is there. but people expect aircraft to be on programs. So an aircraft with 1,800 hours on programs, I'm sure you can find one around here. There you go. Look at that. No, not the 2010. Do we got anything else on the screen? Nothing with around 1,800 hours on it, but maybe we'll go to the next screen. Let's sneak to the next screen real quick. Look at that. 2011. Oh, that's no programs there. 1,600 hours, no programs. Let's find one with programs. Okay, we don't have anything here. We'll go back. I digress. That aircraft has been overhauled and it's on programs. If it had 1,800 hours, that's probably still more than what it'd be worth, in my opinion. So 1.65 million. Okay, moving on to the next page. This one from Jet Aviva disappeared for a little bit, but Jet Aviva has a lot of aircraft on their page that is not on controller, and that's a little interesting to me. Either they're not updating their page, or they're seeing that there's so much aircraft on the market right now, they don't want to add more and cause the market to drop even more. And so they're more so going to bespoke one-on-one listings from their website direct with clients. I can only speculate. The 2009 here at 2.095 million was reduced to 100 grand. That helps the gap, but you're still at a 19.7% premium. You'll have buyers at 1.75, maybe a couple in between there, but there's a reason you've been on the market as long as you have. And the bottom one, that's no longer a new listing. I got to change that to unchanged. My apologies. That is a typo this week. On this page, do I see any changes? No. I see that one, the second one, first column, second one down. That one may have moved, but it's just gone this week. So I got a feeling that's about to be relisted because it was on the market a very long time. No changes in aircraft, but look at these price reductions, huh? November 10 Mike Delta over on the right there must have seen the 2017 on the left with more time, I guess, and didn't want to compete. So they dropped their price 300 grand. Now they're the better value aircraft at 4.2 million. Look, Switzerland will probably get their price. We've talked about this before because of the euro exchange rate. But the 2017 there, coming down to 4.2 million. Hey, it's a start. It's a start with 268 hours, but you're still at a 21.7% delta. And we believe you need to come down in price a little bit. Probably not that far. That's probably a little aggressive, 3.45, but maybe somewhere in the middle there. We'll take a look at that one again. Unchanged, this one in Germany, it's a reasonable value. Unchanged, this one in the bottom left here in McKinney, Texas, 3.85. We believe that's worth around 3.35, 14.9% premium. And on the bottom right, the prime aircraft, this one was just reduced $260,000. It's a 1.8% premium. That's a decent value for a newer aircraft. 450 hours, we value that one at 4.9 million. And these other ones have been reduced 330 grand. This one on the left, 195. The one on the right, we discolored that one because it may have gone as well. But look, the value of the Mustang inventories, or the number of aircraft inventory, is the same right now. So maybe it'll come back. We'll see. But that was a pretty high premium on that one. This one on the left, decent price. We put a fair market value of that of 4.15 million, and that's a gap of 8.3%. Moving along to the Honda Jet inventory, I don't think there's any real changes here. We're not going to discuss this. No one's dropped their price. That one on the top right is still a reasonable price. Everything else is quite high in our opinion, in the mid 20th percentiles in terms of premiums. So what can you do about that? Just have to wait, play the waiting game. We added a new Honda Jet page this week. These two are new ones. Let's see how they look. The Honda Jet Elite S, they're asking 4.4 million. We believe that's a $3.9 million aircraft. And yeah, I think those values are going to come down after these Elite 2s come out and they got auto throttles and emergency auto land, because you won't be able to get that on these older aircraft from what I understand. It's going to drop the value because a lot of people are going to want those safety mechanisms. The 2019 Honda Jet Elite S on the right with 560 hours listed at 5.75 million. Good Lord. I don't know how. From what I understand, that's like a 5.2 to 5.5 aircraft, brand new, and it is now 4 years old with 500 hours on it. So I'm at a loss here. I'm at a loss on their valuation here. To me, that's a $3.32 million aircraft, because if it behaves like every other jet in the world, it should drop 300 grand a year plus 150 bucks flight hour until it hits a depreciation of about 65% of its overall hull value. Moving on to the CJ3 Plus, we do have some more aircraft in inventory this week, but this is our first screen. I think those two, they were gone last week. They're still gone this week. The prices weren't super great, so I don't know if they actually sold or not. These two on the top left, they are reasonable values. You know, we're in the single-digit percentile on premium, so I think that's within negotiation range. The bottom one on the bottom right, they just reduced that 295,000 down to 8.2 million, but it's still a high premium in our opinion, 19.2%. We value that at 6.875 million. The last page of CJ3 Pluses, no change here. We got a new one on the bottom there. That is November 561 Julia, 8.25 million, but it's still in a premium bubble range in our opinion at 20%. We believe that aircraft should be worth about 6.875 million, and that's where we're at on CJ3 Pluses. CJ4s, no real change from what I can tell here. I think that one was there last week. All of these were here last week. Two might have sold, only time will tell. We'll watch and we'll keep those highlighted, frozen, and suspended in time to see if they come back and if they return to the market. Phenom 300s, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. 2014, 8.1 million, reduced 595,000. Now, it is still at a 20% premium, but you want to know what a $595,000 reduction means? It means they know what we know, and that there's too much supply, not enough demand. And if they want to sell these aircraft, they're going to have to come down in price. So 2014 in the top right, that's November 585 Papa Charlie, listed at 7.95 million. We value it at 6.1. They did reduce the price 150,000, but it is still at a 30.3% premium. Yikes. The 2011 there, the nice white and red one, we value that at 7.25 million. That's 2,647 hours. They did reduce it to 145,000, but that is still a 27.5% premium. She old. She almost 3,000 hours. That thing should be breaking 6 at this point in time, or real close to it. It's a long time. All right, those two in the bottom, we'll watch them, see if they come back or not. Maybe they sold, maybe they're being relisted or given to other brokers at this point. And let's see, the 2013 there, 6.65 million. Hey, you're within bargaining range. You're at 10.8%. We can almost change colors on that. If they drop that another 50, 60 grand, that will probably get within single digits on the premium. And hey, look at that. This week only, offer expires 10/23. What did I tell you guys last week on this video? That is a broker trying to create a sense of urgency, because guess what? The deal's still there. It's still a 3,000-hour airplane that no one wants. 3,000-hour airplane that very few people want. 2012 price reduction there on that one, 7.795 million, reduced 100 grand. Still a big premium. We believe that's worth 6.5 million. The only one we've seen that's a decent value, but you know, you got a big question mark in whether you want to deal with it, is this one in China here, 6.1 million. I mean, we actually value that, overvalue it at 6.39 million. So if you can get that for 5.8, 5.9, that's probably a real good price for that aircraft. But it's going to be Chinese logbooks. It's going to be missing Wi-Fi. It's going to be missing ADS-B probably. It's probably not going to be on programs. You know, you're going to have a lot of stuff you'll need to deal with on that aircraft. But hey, you know, if you're willing to deal with those things, you may actually have equity in that aircraft if you were to acquire it and bring it across the pond, so to speak. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes this week's presentation of your aircraft global market update. And so thank you so much for joining us. We're going to leave you with a snapshot of controller of all the aircraft we like to go over this Friday, October 27, 2023. Thanks for watching our videos. Please engage, like, comment, subscribe, share, send us purchase agreements, send us information on aircraft. Tell us what you want to see next week. Thanks so much. God bless you all. We'll see you next Friday.